Welcome folks to the Plant Challenge 2023 to 2024. The task for this challenge is to grow the plant with the greatest transformation from November 2023 to September 2024.
It is time to find out who won this competition.
But before we can do that, let's go back to where this all began in November 2023.
Here I am in the past. My hair is a little different. My goal is to grow the plant with the biggest transformation, grow it the nicest in 10 months from November to September, and I'm going to document the process along the way. I have a budget of $20 to spend on the plant itself, and I am pretty keen to do this. I really enjoyed doing this challenge last year, and so when Lee set up the challenge for this current year, I, of course, had to jump in. So it's November 2023, it's time to start this challenge. I have a budget of $20, which is approximately 30 Australian dollars, actually slightly more than that. I don't want to go over budget and I need to go shopping. So let's go and see what we can find. Okay, I have found a plant for just under 25 Australian dollars, which is well under budget for what we need to be doing. I have found this epipremnum marble queen. I actually don't have one of these in my collection, which is partly why I got it, because I didn't want to do a plant that I already have, because it's nice to expand, and I just really love this plant. It's currently set up in a hanging pot, but I don't want to continue it hanging. I have a number of trailing plants in my home already, and I don't think I need another trailing plant right now. I am going to get this one set up so that it climbs. Epipremnum are climbing plants. I am ready to put this one on a moss pole because these ones do indeed climb. That's definitely enough conversation. It's time to pot up this plant into the pot that it's going to be for the next year. Okay, I've already prepared my moss pole. I have been making my own moss poles. These are self-watering ones. There is a link in the description to a more detailed video of how I make these, and I am keeping it fairly short. I'm doing this shorter than the ones that I often do, partly because I really want to create a really lush, full effect of this plant as it grows. So I want to really get a dense growth on this moss pole. I'm using my regular indoor potting mix. So this is about 2 parts perlite, 1 part coconut peat, and 1 part cheap potting mix. There's also a bunch of slow release fertilizer mixed in there. I want a really well draining soil. I know with like many houseplants, epipremnum is similar to this. They don't like to be super waterlogged, and so having well draining soil is going to be helpful for that. So I'm going to put the pole in to start with. I'm going to try my best to keep it in the center. I'm going to need to mess around with the roots a bit here, but knowing epipremnum, I think that it's going to be okay. And I am going to pack it in fairly tight around the base of the pole. I don't want to, over compact it because I do want it to keep draining well, but I also want the pole to be fairly secured in there. Okay, let's take this one out of this pot. Let's see. All right. Oh, I am going to really mess with that root ball. That's how it goes sometimes. All right. Just to kind of fit it all in there. I wonder if I've actually got like 3 individual plants here. I reckon I do. Oh, okay, that answers that question. I have multiple plants in this pot. That is actually, that's actually reassuring, which means I can actually pull them apart and plant them in their own kind of sections of the pot, which I don't mind at all. So they've got pretty good looking roots. Like I'm happy with the health that this plant is coming, or these plants are coming in. And I'm ready to put them in just around the base of the pole, and I want to kind of direct them so that they're not flowing over, but that they are ready to start climbing. And that is looking pretty reasonable and like a really good start actually. Like I'm happy with how this is looking already. So my idea is that they will grow around the pole and we'll have this even thicker than it currently is, but all the way around. I think that'll look really nice, and I'm excited for it to get there, though I know that it'll take a while, but we do have you know, a couple of months short of a year. So we've got some time. And just to really help it along, I'm going to attach the back of the plants to the moss pole. The back part on an epipremnum is fairly easy to find. It's the part that has the aerial roots, or just the roots coming out of. So I'm going to line it up and use some Velcro tape to attach it to the pole. If I can find where I put it. I don't know where I put it. Probably should have got it out before I started filming. There it is. I really like using Velcro tape because it's easy to use and it's reusable. So I can use this multiple times on whatever it needs to be used on at the time. I may only need to have 1 or 2 pieces for this plant in total, because once it has latched on to the moss pole, then it's not going to need the support, so I can kind of move it up to kind of train it. So I'm going to see if I can get away with 1 piece for the whole thing. I can go a little tighter actually. I'm happy with that. Let's water this thing, get into position and wait.
It was after I got all this started that I learned that Melissa from Plants by Melissa was also doing a Pothos Marble Queen. I would have some stiff competition because boy does she know how to grow a gorgeous plant on a pole. I had my work cut out for me.
Okay, it's been about a month and a half now. I have changed my hair color and this plant is doing really well. I am really impressed. So it's been in this new pot and with the moss pole for about 6 weeks, and it's already starting to anchor itself into the moss pole, which I'm really happy about. It's putting out plenty of new growth and it's looking generally pretty good. There are a few leaves towards the bottom which have died off and a couple with some brown spots. I'm keeping a very close eye on that. I don't see any pests here, but I am watching that very carefully. But all of the new growth is looking really good. You can see there's lots of growth points and I am feeling good about this. I'm really happy, like it's attached itself faster than I was expecting, truthfully, which I'm really happy about. I am, however, beginning to get a little concerned about this plant. I think I might have underestimated how fast it's going to grow. And I've only given it a fairly short moss pole, which I think regularly would be fine, but I want to win this competition. And I think that it will get to the top of this moss pole within a couple of months, and then I need to try and do something. So at the moment, I have a bit of a dilemma. I'm not sure, I think it's too late to change the moss pole because it's starting to anchor itself in. I'm thinking, do I extend it? Do I try something else? I'm gonna need to get creative, I think. So that's what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna have a think about it. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty happy with how this plant's going so far, 6 weeks in, but I'm a little worried that I've underestimated how much growth this is going to make and that I might be selling myself short with it. We'll see. It's been another month now. It's the end of January and I have a problem. Not a problem as in this plant's gonna die. A problem in this plant is doing really, really well and I need to adjust my plans. So I thought that the moss pole was not gonna be big enough last month, and very quickly that's turned out to be true because I have got new leaves coming up above it now. It's looking really full on the moss pole, but at the moment it's reached the top of the pole, which is great. Like if the competition was finishing now, that's awesome. But because I've got, another half a year, I don't feel good in just leaving it here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to extend the pole. So I have prepared another half of a moss pole. Now I thought that I'd do a short one because, I want to make sure it looks really full, but because it's already reached it, it's really well anchored in there. It's looking really good. I need to extend it. It's time to do that. I just did exactly the same thing I did with my previous one, but I gave myself a little bit of extra space on the end there with the garden edging, and I'm going to use that to cable tie it to my current pole. So I'm just going to carefully come and do that. It does mean a little bit that my self-watering strategy is going to be a bit weird. I'm going to have to water the whole thing manually pretty well now, which is okay. Like, that's not the end of the world. And I'm going to need to make sure that it's, yeah, there we go. All right, now I need to zoom out on camera B. Actually, let me attach it first. I've not squished any plant in there. No, we're good. So now I guess I'll take the extra lengths of zip tie off, return it back to its nice sunny spot, keep the moisture in the moss pile, we'll keep it wet, and continue to watch it grow. And we'll see how it's going in a couple of months' time. Okay, it is July and the plant's looking really good. I have a little bit of a bone to pick with the plant though. So one of the plants is doing a bit of reverting. It's showing these great massive leaves towards the top, and you know, it can grow faster because it's got more chlorophyll. You know, the variegated sections don't have as much chlorophyll, can't be as productive. So the ones that are just green will naturally grow faster. I do want more of the variegated leaves though, so I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do about that. We're in winter at the moment, so growth has really slowed down. I'm gonna give it a good feed with a slow release fertilizer and hit it with a liquid fertilizer and hope that that encourages it to grow faster. Really all I can do at the moment though, other than that, is to make sure it gets plenty of light, which it's getting at the moment, and hope that some of the other ones grow more variegation. It's doing really well otherwise though, so that's good. It is time to find out who won this competition. If you're coming from another video, you already know this, but keep it to yourself for now. I want to show you the plant that we've ended up with, and then we'll look at the judging. So this is the plant that we have ended up with. I am, quite frankly, thrilled with how this plant has turned out. As you'll see, the top part has lost its variegation. Like, it's kind of reverted. There's really no even flex in there. It's quite nice. Like, I actually don't mind the really dark green. It's a gorgeous big leaves up the top, but I'd really like the variegated bits that are still really concentrated down here to do more. I'm really quite proud of the plant that this has become. It's come a long way since the little plant that I bought from Bunnings, and there are some more things that I want to talk about, but we'll talk about them after the judging.
Hello everyone, my name's Claire from the YouTube channel The Jungle Haven, and if you don't know me, I make planty videos on tips and tricks, things I've learnt over the years, and just generally try and make learning about plants fun. So thank you so much for inviting me to be your judge for this competition. I absolutely love a growth comparison. I'm constantly putting my own plants next to old pictures of themselves to see how far they've come, so this is genuinely really exciting for me. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
I did in Pothos, and I transitioned it from soil to soil, and it started growing really quickly. Put it on a moss pole. The moss pole, I was originally trying to just get a really thick plant, but it got to the top of the moss pole like within the first 2 or 3 months. So I extended the moss pole, and I'm really happy with how it's looking. It's pushing out some big leaves. There's kind of 3 plants that I got out of the one pot, and one of them is far less variegated. It's grown a lot faster. So I've got some massive non-variegated leaves, but it's still looking really gorgeous, and everything's doing well, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out.
And then next up, we've got a Pothos Marble Queen, which is growing in such an unusual way, and I absolutely love it. So obviously looking at the before photo, it was growing in a hanging pot. It was quite a juvenile plant in the grand scheme of things. And again, whoever grew this plant has managed to achieve a really incredible level of growth in quite a short amount of time. Obviously, looking at the after photo, what you'll probably notice is that it has lost quite a lot of its variegation. So in order to conserve that, again, if this was my plant, I'd probably be chopping it back a little bit. But that being said, they've managed to get it to size up significantly. Like, if you look at the size of the leaves at the top of the moss pole where it's at compared to at the bottom, it has really sized up. And honestly, I know this might not be a conventional or correct thing to say, but I really like the look of it like this. I think it's very unusual. I've had plants that have reverted before, and sometimes embracing the weirdness and the unusual things that plants do is a really good thing to do. So I probably wouldn't chop it. But yeah, I love it personally.
Nice. Yeah, so this is the one of the plants, yeah, really lost its variegation. So there's 3 individual plants in there, and I long term, I'm pretty confident that the remaining 2 that are fairly highly variegated will continue to do what they're doing, and once they both reach the top, it's going to be lovely. It's grown really well since that last picture was taken as well. It's starting to warm up here, so the variegated leaves are continuing to come, which is lovely. I was feeling pretty good, but then it was Melissa's turn, and I was nervous.
And then finally, we've got another Pothos Marble Queen. And this is actually really, really interesting because obviously we saw another Pothos Marble Queen earlier in this competition. I think looking at this just goes to show how a different environment and different conditions can affect the way that a plant grows, because, oh my goodness, the after photo of this one is just out of this world.
Oh, that was so nice of her.
I think yours beats mine. I was afraid this would happen. I saw you pick I was like, oh man, she really does know how to make a big plant on a pole quickly. That's great, well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
After all that, I asked myself, was I still in with a shot?
This is a competition, and in 3rd place, I've chosen to put the Philodendron Glorious. And then in 2nd place, this was hard again, but in 2nd place, I put the Philodendron Autumn Queen. And then if you hadn't guessed, I think, for me anyway, there was a clear winner here, and that is the 2nd Pothos Marble Queen that we saw.
Well, it was always going to be hard to compete against Melissa. I was very nervous when I heard that Melissa was also going to be growing this exact same plant, because I have seen the plants that she grows on poles. I don't entirely know how she does it. I am very jealous and I want to learn from her. So she's done an extremely good job. Like the size of those leaves, oh my goodness. This one doesn't really hold a candle to it. I'm still very pleased with this, don't get me wrong. But Melissa, congratulations, you really did deserve the win. You did such an amazing job with that one. So yeah, didn't place this year. That's okay. Still ended up with a really gorgeous plant, so it's all right. And this was a really fun process. Like, I really enjoyed doing this. Thank you so much, Lee, from Kill That Plant, for organizing this again, 2nd year in a row. I know that organizing time zones and meeting everyone and just, you know, being in charge of something, it's hard work, and I really want to acknowledge you for doing that. Congratulations, Melissa, for the win, and thank you so much, Claire from the Jungle Haven, for judging this year. You didn't pick mine, but that's okay. The winner was very clearly Melissa, because my goodness, what a gorgeous plant. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. This is the 2nd year that I have participated in this competition, the 2nd year this competition has run. I really hope that it can get up again in the future, because this was lots of fun. It's been great to follow along with the other plant tubers, and if you have not seen any of the other plant YouTubers' videos about this competition, I highly recommend doing that. Some of them just have this fantastic narrative way of making videos like this, and they're very talented people, so I really recommend you check them out. There are lots of links in the description to all of their videos. Please go and check them out. If you like this video, you might like other videos on this channel. Please feel free to subscribe to Scott Grows an Avocado Tree, and I'm also on Instagram at Scott Grows an Avocado Tree. And if you just want to see more of my stuff, I'm on That's Pretty Cool, my 2nd channel, where I make videos about all kinds of things that inspire in me a sense of curiosity and wonder. I would really appreciate it if you were to go and check that out. That'd be a huge compliment to me. Thank you once again for watching. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
I'd like to give a very special thank you to all of my Patreons, especially the new ones, which is everyone at this point. It's a new Patreon. Thank you very much, Vigard, Oliver Isaac, Natalie Kendra, and Stranger Danger. If you would like to support me more financially, please check out my Patreon. There's a
Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree. Scott grows an avocado tree.